to get into that space safely. Okay, so when I say strengtheners, we're kind of talking about the glute muscles predominantly. So there'll be a little bit of work into strengthening the glutes and then releasing into the hips. So should be a nice little flowy class. We'll start in the mat for quite a little bit this morning, get into a little bit of flow and get a little bit deeper toward the end of the class when the hips are nicely warmed up. So very important, first thing in the morning, not to go straight into a deep stretch because the body's still just waking up, might be a little bit stiff from whatever way you're sleeping. So we do need to warm up, particularly into the hips and into the spine, just so we can safely enjoy the practice. So we're going to start lying down this morning. Again, just check in that you have your towel and blocks, if you have blocks, beside you. And we're just going to lie down onto the mat. Again, if you have a block, particularly if you've been coming to my classes before, if you do have a block, you can always get it, place it lengthways on your mat, toward the back of the mat, leaving enough space for your head to fall back over. And then you can place that block between the shoulder blades, allow the head connect to the mat behind. Again, if it doesn't connect easily, you can take another block or a cushion just until the head's supported, so it's not hanging out there. And then we can draw the arms out in line with the shoulders, palms open to the ceiling, and just allow the fingertips melt onto the ground. So even if you don't have a block, still arms out in line with the shoulders, palms open. And then we're going to draw the soles of the feet together and allow the knees drop out to the side. So coming into a really gentle hip opener to start with, a nice little heart opener. And just checking in with where your breath is at here. So again, noticing if it's relaxed, if it's strained, if it's deep, is it short? And just touching in with your breath here. So really drawing a nice strong inhale right up into the belly, drawing it right up into the rib cage, into the chest as you work those shoulder blades together, and then just sigh it out gently through the lips. Allow the hips drop out a little bit more, allow the heart open a little bit more. So just do a few nice long inhalations yourself through the nose, starting deep in the belly, and then as you sigh it out through the lips, just let it go, let the body release. And you can make that exhale as audible and as releasing as you can, so just really allowing the body melt here. On your next inhale, we're going to draw the hands together back overhead, but we're going to try to keep the fingertips trailing along the ground for as long as possible. And then as we exhale, we're going to draw those arms right back down by the sides. So nice big full angel wings with our arms here. Inhale, arms back overhead, reaching back through the fingertips. Exhale, arms down by the side. So continuing with your own breath. So it's a nice full long movement with the breath. So we're not rushing through it, just getting a little bit of mobility into the shoulders, space into the chest. Maybe bringing the heels a little bit closer to the body. See if we can get a wee bit deeper into those hips this morning. So again, every exhale, relaxing a little bit more. So as well as working into the hips, when we work into the front of the body, into the hips, we're also going to be focusing on releasing into the chest. So we've got that nice balance along the body as well as across the body. On your next exhale, just gently return those arms down by the sides. And then if you're on a block, just really gently rolling over onto your right hand side, just enough to remove the block, and then we lie back onto the mat. So keeping the knees bent, feet are flat now, and we're going to hug that right knee in toward the chest. Then we're going to extend that left leg fully, pressing away through the heel, so that left leg's really active, and just giving that knee a nice little squeeze into the chest as we inhale, and as we exhale, keeping the right hand on the shin, we're going to draw that right knee outside the line of the body. We might place that left hand onto the left hip, just coaxing that side of the body onto the mat. And every inhale, we're thinking about opening the heart, so really lengthening that spine. And every exhale, we're drawing that right knee outward a little bit more. So we should feel this into the right hip and across the front of the pelvis. Again, use the breath. Relax the glutes here. So relax the bum muscles and just focus in on that space into the hips. So we're releasing into our deep psoas here. So this is a large muscle that has an unusual location in the body. It's one of the few muscles that connects both the lower and the upper. So it runs across the pelvis. So by releasing into it, we can actually let go of a lot of tension within the hip complex, but it's quite deep, so it is hard to get at. So really explore the breath here. So that exhale, we're just getting a little bit more depth. We're going to inhale the knee back to center, and then we're going to place the left hand on the shin, extend right arm out in line with the shoulder, shifting the hips a little bit to the right, and then draw that right leg across the body over to the left. Gaze goes over the right fingertips, that right shoulder is grounded down, and we're keeping that knee in line with the hip. So it's not about the foot dropping down toward the ground, we're keeping that knee in line with the hip. We might place that left hand on the outer thigh, so we're not pulling the leg down, but even just that extra little bit of weight. And again, if you notice the leg's not coming over fully, just shift the hips a little bit more to the right, so it allows us to have a little bit more space for us to get into that twist. And from here, I want you to really explore that belly breath. So really draw that breath deep into the belly. And then as we exhale, allow the body release a little bit more into that space you've just created. So again, we should feel a nice little stretch into the right glute here. And again, a lovely release throughout the whole length of the spine. And just check in how your neck feels here. So if it's too stressful to look the opposite direction, just relax the gaze toward the ceiling. So it's just that we can get that full twist. But again, we don't want to be stressing ourselves out this early yet. And then slowly inhale back to center. Again, we're going to hug that right knee in. We're going to bend the left knee, bringing the left foot flat onto the mat. And then we're going to rest that right ankle just below the left knee, allowing the right knee work away from us. Nice active right foot here. So we're drawing the toes toward the knee. Checking in that lower back is grounded. We're going to inhale the left foot off the mat. So we're going to come into our figure four here. That left foot's nice and relaxed with the shins parallel to the ceiling. We're going to interlock either the hands behind that left hamstring, but if by doing that, the shoulders are rolling, we can get our towel here, wrap it around the back of the hamstring, using it as a little extension of the arm so we can really draw those shoulder blades together and open into the chest space. So as we inhale, we're thinking about pressing the spine, lengthening the spine, and as we exhale, we're drawing that left knee toward the face, and we're working that right knee away from the body. So again, exploring that right hip here, then release into the glute. The closer that left knee comes toward the face, the more we're going to feel it into that right hip. So just listen to your own body here, see how it feels. Might bring a little bit of ankle mobility here. So we'll inhale, point that left foot up toward the ceiling and really stretch into the front of the foot. And then as we exhale, draw those left toes toward the face. So continue, a few more breaths like that. Again, keep checking in that lower back is still grounded onto the mat. So we're still nice and supported in that lower back. And then we can make a few nice big circles to the right with that ankle. Again, as full and smooth and fluid as you can make those circles. So nice slow movement, really touching into every last little muscle and tendon in the foot. And then reversing it in the other direction. So again, just really warming up into all the joints here, but with a strong focus on those hips. And then slowly release that left foot back onto the ground. We're going to cross the right leg fully over left, extending both arms out in line with the shoulders, shift the hips to the right, and then again back into our spinal twist. Both knees drop over to the left. Gaze goes over the right fingertips, and again just relax with every exhale. So we're keeping those shoulders grounded into the mat, so feel that space in the chest as we lengthen through the spine on the inhale, and as we exhale, allowing those knees drop over a little bit more. So just a little bit more intense into our twist here. Oh, seeing the sun come out. And again, exploring that belly breath, some nice deep inhalation, and then relaxing on the exhale. And then gently inhaling back to center. We're going to release both feet back onto the mat, hugging that left knee in toward the chest, and then extending that right leg fully out along the mat, really pressing away through that right heel. We can keep the left hand on the shin as we inhale, and as we exhale, we're going to draw that left knee again outside the line of the body, but still hugged in toward the body. So just imagining that you want the knee almost to touch the ground beside you. It's never going to get there, I hope, but it's just even that general motion. So you're feeling that space into the left hip, cross the front of the pelvis, maybe placing that right hand onto the pelvis. Just going to close these blinds here so you can see me. I won't be glowing. So again, use that breath. Every exhale, trying to get just a little bit deeper. Accessing just a little bit more space. And again, even when you're in these poses, small little micro movements into the joint to see if it feels different. Even just a couple of mils to the left, hugging it into the chest a little bit more, and just see how that feels. We're going to inhale that left knee back to center, placing the right hand on the shin, left arm extends out, shifting the hips a little bit to the left, and then allowing that left leg drop over to the right. Left shoulder is grounded, right hand is on the outer thigh. And again, gaze goes over the left fingertips. Nice full belly breaths here. Still working into that lovely space on the exhale. And again, even just noticing how that feels from the other side. Slowly, we're going to inhale it back to center. Hugging that left knee in again. We're going to place that right foot on the ground. And then rest that left ankle just below the right knee, coming into our figure four. Again, checking in that lower back is grounded. So all our hip openers, lower back is nice and stable. So we can get into them safely and also access that extra bit of space. We're going to inhale that right foot off the ground, shin parallel to the ceiling. And then we can either interlock the hands behind that hamstring, walking those shoulder blades together. And again, if you don't get that full space into the chest, do use the towel. So use the props so that you can get the full benefit out of that space in the chest, as well as working into that hip. So as you inhale, I want you to think about walking the shoulder blades together, maybe tucking the chin a little bit, so allowing that full length of the spine, connect to the ground. And then as we exhale, we'll work at that right knee toward the face. Again, notice how that left knee feels. So the more active that left foot is, so you draw the toes toward the knee, it helps keep that left knee joint relaxed and open. So again, just explore where that left foot is at if the knee does feel cranky. And if it still feels cranky, just back off the stretch. So we shouldn't really be feeling this into the knee. It's more into that left glute and hip. We're working that left knee away from the body, and we're working that right knee toward the body. Again, use that exhale. So we're thinking about deepening every exhale. We're going to inhale, point that right foot up toward the ceiling, really stretching into the front of the foot. And then as we exhale, drawing those toes toward the face. So again, continuing with your own breath. So full lengthening on the inhale, and then drawing that toe downward on the exhale. So again, just really enjoying that space into the ankles. And then we can make a few nice big circles to the right. So again, nice big full circles. And then reversing it to the left. Again, it's a nice slow controlled movement, noticing where there's a little entrapment, where there's a little niggle, and just trying to smoothen that with the breath and the movement. And then slowly releasing that right foot back to the mat. We're going to cross that left leg fully over right, release the towel, arms out in line with the shoulders. We're going to shift the hips a little bit to the left, and then allow both knees drop over to the right, coming back into our second spinal twist. Gaze goes over the left fingertips, shoulders are grounded, And as we inhale, thinking about lengthening the spine, maybe tucking the chin a little bit. And as we exhale, just allowing those knees drop over a little bit more. So again, explore that full belly breath here. Every exhale, a little bit more through the spine, a little bit more release through the glutes. Last couple of breaths. And then slowly, gently releasing it back to center. From here, we're going to hug both knees in toward the chest, give them a nice little squeeze. And as we exhale, we're going to draw both knees outside the line of the body toward the mat beside us. So coming, setting up for a little happy baby pose here. So drawing both knees outward. Then we're going to see if we can get the soles of the feet parallel to the ceiling, but keep that lower back grounded onto the mat. And then we can either hold on to the calves, the shins, the ankles, inner arches of the feet, or we can interlock our middle and index finger around the big toes. So if they're there, we might even place the elbows inside the legs, getting a little bit deeper into those hips. So again, just checking that you're not rocking and rolling that lower back. So if it means dropping the feet a little bit till you get that connection of the lower back onto the mat. As we inhale, we're going to press the soles of the feet up toward the ceiling. And then as we exhale, we're going to draw those knees down toward the ground beside us. So inhale, pressing up. Exhale, drawing down. Inhale, pressing up. Exhale, drawing down. 2 more. Last one. Lovely. From here, we're going to draw the soles of the feet together so that they're touching. And then we can either interlock our hands around the outer blades of those feet. If that doesn't quite get there this morning, we can reach for a towel, wrap it around the outer blades of the feet until the soles of the feet come together. Okay, so it's important here those soles are meeting, so we're really accessing that space. And then from here, we can walk those shoulder blades together as we inhale. And as we exhale, just press those knees away from the body. So keeping the pelvis and groin area nice and open here. So we're not going into any kind of fold. So we're just focusing on pressing the soles together, working those knees away from the body, but keeping the chest nice and open, spine nice and long. So we're inhale, lengthening the spine. Exhale, pressing those knees away. Just a couple of more breaths here. So try to use your own breath. Every exhale, working a little bit deeper into that diamond shape. And do use the towel here. It's really great just to allow that extra extension so that we're not rolling into that upper back. So already, generally, Western culture has us a little bit rounded in the upper back, a little bit tight into the chest. So even though we're focusing on the hip openers, every chance we get, we want to keep that lovely space into the heart, into the chest. And then slowly releasing the grip, we're going to draw those knees back together, hugging them in toward the chest. And then we're going to crisscross at the ankles. And we're going to take 4 or 5 rolls, forward and back along the mat. Full motion here, really massaging the full length of the spine into the ground. So 4 or 5 rolls. And when you've taken your last roll, I want you to engage with the core to gently bring yourselves up to seat at the front of the mat. So from here, actually I'll face you so you can see me. So a nice easy cross-legged if that feels okay, or you can sit back onto the heels if it doesn't. We're going to rest the palms open to the ceiling, rolling the shoulder blades back together away from the ears. And we're going to inhale the arms out, reaching up, interlocking fingers, pressing the palms toward the ceiling. And see if you can get the arms right back in line with the ears. So what happens here, generally, the hands are going to fall forward if we're a little bit tight in the chest. So I want you to consciously open the heart. So really draw those arms back in line with the ears, or maybe even a little bit further behind the ears if you have that space. As we exhale, we're going to hinge from the lower back and we're going to press the hands forward as far as they can go. And when they can't go any further forward, we're going to rest the hands out in front. Okay, so you mightn't get much fold here at all. That's totally okay. Try to focus on lengthening the spine, sitting back into the sit bones. So we should feel this in one glute more so than the other. And as we inhale, we're pressing the chest forward. We're walking the fingertips forward. And as we exhale, just releasing into that fold. So again, closing down the eyes here. So don't get caught up with how low I'm going or how low I'm not going. Everyone's going to be totally different here depending on where your lower back and hamstrings are at, as well as those glutes. So just respect the body. Once you're feeling that little stretch into the glute and that release in the lower back, keeping the spine long, that's all you want to be. Again, every exhale, really sitting back, pressing those sit bones back, really reaching forward through the fingertips. And release, inhale it back to center. We're just going to reverse the crisscross of the legs here so we can get into that opposite glute. Again, sit nice and tall into the spine, nicely grounded, palms open to the ceiling. And we're going to inhale the arms out, reaching up, interlocking fingers, pressing the palms toward the ceiling. Again, a nice open heart here. As we exhale, lengthening the spine forward, hinging from that lower back and hips as far as we can, and then resting the hands out in front. Again, we're keeping the chest open, so we're not rolling into that upper back. It's not about how low you go here. Keep the spine long, walking the fingertips forward, and then slowly releasing the head and neck, closing down the eyes, maybe even pressing the ground away, and that'll help you get those sit bones back a little bit better. Again, we notice that stretches in the opposite glute here. And the more we press the sit bones back, the more we extend forward through the spine, the more we're going to feel that release. Last breath here, really releasing on that exhale. And then slowly tucking the chin in, walking the hands back up toward the body. Lovely. From here, so we're going to have, we're sitting at the front of the mat. We're going to sit so that we have our right shin parallel to the front of the mat. So knees are bent. And then we're going to get that left knee and we're going to draw it behind the body. So now the right shin is parallel to the front of the mat and the left inner thigh is parallel to the front of the mat. And then we're going to sit nice and tall on the fingertips. So we're looking for nice right angles. So right toe to heel, heel to knee, knee to hip on the front leg. And on the left, see if we can get the hip in line with the knee. If we can draw that left leg out so it's at 90 degrees as well, all the better. And we're just sitting nice and tall here. So we're not going into any movement. Just notice you'll have a tendency to fall over into that right hip. So I want you to press the ground away on the right and see if you can feel that opening into the left hip. Okay, so tendency is to come over to the right. So we're going to press the ground away to the right and then press the hip down to the left. And you can choose to stay here if that's enough for you this morning, or we can walk those hands out in front, reclining forward into a little fold. But again, trying to press the ground away on the right and draw the body over to the left. And again, as low as we wish to go, not battling the fold, just allowing the weight of the body and the breath get you a little bit further. So again, nice active feet here. So all the time drawing those toes toward the knees to keep those knee released. And then slowly draw it back to center if you're in your fold. Now from here, we're going to get a little bit deeper into the hip. So that right foot is going to stay where it's at, parallel to the front of the mat. And then we're going to draw that left leg in to sit on top of the right. So we're going into a log pose here. So basically what we want is that left foot to be sitting on top of the right and that left knee to be sitting on top of the right. Okay, so sitting directly, joints on top of joints. What you'll find if you're quite tight in the hip, this left knee is going to be right up here, and that's okay. Over time, that will come down. but ideally we want that the joints are stacked on top of each other. And again, keeping those feet active, so even pressing the toes inward so that you're getting that nice space. And again, we're just sitting nice and tall into the spine here, so we're not folding forward unless that knee is rested on the foot. If the knee is fully rested on the foot, as we inhale, we think about sitting tall, and as we exhale, just draw the chest forward, come into a little fold. So again, we don't need to go too far here. Relax the head, relax the neck. You should feel this quite intense into the left hip joint. So again, this is just getting a little bit deeper. And then slowly inhale back to center. So from here, we're going to reverse our positioning with the legs. So now we're going to have that left shin parallel to the front of the mat. We're going to come back into the previous pose. So draw that right leg behind us, and that right quad, or that right thigh, is going to be parallel to the front. Nice right angles, okay? So that's left foot, toe to ankle, ankle to knee, knee to hip, all nice 90-degree angles. And then the back, we're going to have that hip to knee, knee to ankle, so the foot comes out a little bit here. We'll actually feel that more into that right hip. And again, we can press the ground away to the left, drawing that right hip down, just see how that feels. I've got a lovely stripy effect going on here with the sun. I might just close those blinds again. So again, if you're there and you feel comfortable, stay where you're at, or you can draw yourself forward into a fold. Again, hinging from that lower back, drawing the chest forward. It's a little bit better. But all the time pressing the ground away from the left this time. And again, relax the head and neck. We don't need to go too far forward to feel that into the hip. Slowly releasing it back to center. Again, we're going to stack those logs on the other side so that left shin stays where it's at. We're going to bend that right knee, drawing the right leg to rest on top of the left. So again, ideally, and it mightn't get there this morning, so don't force it, but we want that right foot start on top of the left knee and that right knee start on top of the left foot. And again, what you notice, if the hips are very tight, that right knee is going to be right up here, almost pointing toward the ceiling. And again, that's okay, just respect the hips. But over time, we're working on getting that knee to sit, that it's in line with the foot. We're going to sit nice and tall into the spine. We can press those toes toward the knees here, just to really activate those feet and keep those knees nice and released. And again, if that feels good, and that's enough for you this morning, you can stay here, or we can gently draw the chest forward, again, hinging from that lower back and finding that extra little bit of release into that right glute. All the time we're sitting back into those sit bones, so keeping the lower back nice and open. And again, you don't need to hinge forward at all, just keep that nice length in your spine if you're feeling it already. And then gently, gently, we're going to release it back to center. Well done. So we'll undo the cross of the legs, so we're sitting facing the front of our mat, and we're going to come into our tabletop. So we're going to do a few little rounds of cat-cow curls for the spine, but also to release into those hips that we've just been working on. So again, hands nicely grounded, fingers spread, pressure into finger pads and knuckles, wrists nice and light, shoulders in line with wrists and elbow creases facing forward. Knees about hip width distance apart. You can tuck the toes under, or you can lay them out flat, so whatever feels good. As we inhale, we're going to press the chest forward, gaze up toward the ceiling, arching the spine. Exhale, pressing into the mat, curling through the spine, gaze back to the belly. Inhale, gaze goes forward and up, little bend to the elbows. Exhale, curling through, release those shoulders. Inhale, forward and up. Exhale, curling through and under. So continuing with your own breath, maybe closing down the eyes here and just really exploring that movement along the full length of the spine. So imagining every single last facet along the spine opening up with the breath. Feeling that blood flow and energy move from the base of the spine right up to the base of the neck. And again, exaggerate the movement, bend through the elbows, draw the belly down, draw the shoulders up. And if you need to take an extra breath into any space to really fully release into that space, please do. So again, listen to your own body here. Bring that energy to where it's needed. And again, you really can't do enough of these cat-cow curls. Particularly in the morning. So when you think when you've been lying in bed, if you're acting like me in a little ball, it's just really opening up that spine, giving it back a little bit of life. And then returning back into our tabletop. So here we're going to do a little bit of glute activation. So again, the front of the body stays the same, nice and grounded. Really press into the ground. So we're getting that nice space in the shoulders, even when we're just in stillness. Then we're going to bend that right knee and draw it back in line with the hip. And what you might notice here is the belly starts to fall and the bum sticks up in the air. So I want you to press the hips under, activate the core. That right knee might drop, and then you're going to bring the right knee up again. So you're going to have to activate that right glute to get the lift in the leg. Right foot is active here. So again, nice 90-degree angles. We're going to inhale here, and as we exhale, we're going to turn the right hip out, and we're going to draw that right knee up toward the right elbow, but keeping the hip lifted. And then we're going to inhale, press back. And then we're going to exhale, rotate the hip out, drawn right elbow or right knee to elbow, inhale it back. We're going to continue that. So to your own breath, make sure to break down the movement. So as we inhale back, then we're rotating the hip outward fully, drawing that knee to touch the elbow, and then pressing it back. So conscious, controlled movement, really exploring that full mobility into the hip joint. Keeping the core strong, keeping the spine long, but focus here on that hip. And you might feel it a little bit clinky, a little bit clunky. So once there's no pain, that clunkiness is normal enough. So you are moving into the hip joint. You're going to be rubbing over muscle, bone, and tendon. There might be a few little air pockets in the joint too. So just really safely coming into that hip joint. Last two. You might actually feel that left glute activate as well as you try to hold that other leg together. And then slowly release. We're going to do the same on the other side. Maybe just sit back toward the heels, release the wrist just for a couple of breaths. Maybe shift the hip side to side here, releasing that right glute. And then when you're ready, we're going to come back into our tabletop. Again, same upper body. We're going to bend that left knee. Nice right, 90-degree angles. Hip to knee, knee to heel, heel to toe. And again, if we find the belly's falling toward the ground, I want you to really press those hips toward the ground. Engage the core, press the ground away, and then activate that left glute to get the lift in that back leg. And you really notice that. So it's very easy just to drop in here and allow that left leg hang out. But if you engage the core, press the hips forward and then lift, that's where you're going to get the openness into the hips and that glute engagement. And again, feel free to just hold it here. This in itself is a lovely glute activator. You're still opening the hips. But when you're ready, we're going to inhale. And as we exhale, rotating the hip outward, drawing that left knee up toward the left elbow, keeping the hip high. Inhale it back. Exhale, twist, drawn, knee to elbow. Inhale it back. Exhale, twist, knee to elbow. So continuing with your own breath. So I want you to imagine that there's something out to your left there that you do not want to knock over with your leg. So you're keeping that leg nice and high all the time. Full rotation into that hip joint. And again, even just notice how that feels from one side to the other. So sometimes one side's going to be a little bit more rigid. There might be a little bit more popping and crunching. But again, once there's no pain, it's just movement. Might be a little bit uncomfortable. Last two. Last one. And slowly release. Here we're going to release fully back into that child's pose. We'll keep the feet together, but we'll draw the knees nice and wide. Pressing the ground away so that the sit bones are back onto the heels, and then just releasing the head down onto the mat. We can stay high on the fingertips if we still want to work in between the shoulder blades, or we can rest the hands down and just take a couple of easy breaths here. Pressing the ground away and really sitting back onto those heels. So feeling that space in the lower back. Again, maybe shifting the hips side to side if we want to feel that space into the glutes. From here, keeping those hands grounded, we're going to tuck the chin in, come back into our tabletop. We're going to tuck the toes under, and we're going to press back into our downward dog. Nice active downward dog straight away, just walking out the feet. Opposite heel moves toward the ground. We're pressing the ground away, but only through the finger pads and knuckles. So even if it means making a little claw with your hands, so we're not dumping into those wrists. We're lifting the hips nice and high. Think about pressing the hips toward the ceiling, and then we're drawing those heels down toward the ground. Relax the gaze, maybe give the head a little shake. Rock out the neck, rock out the hips. So just bringing that movement into the backs of the legs and into the lower back. Coming to stillness here in our downward dog, we're going to look forward between the hands, gently walking to the front of the mat. Gently releasing into a nice relaxed forward fold here. So knees are bent, head and neck are fully relaxed, fingertips trail toward the ground. Press those hips skyward until you feel that little release in the lower back. And then gently tuck the chin in toward the chest and slowly roll it up to stand. So we're finally standing. We're going to go into a few rounds of sun salutes. If you need to take a drink, now is a nice time. Again, feel free to drink at any time. If the body's needing it, it generally is telling you something, particularly in the morning. Again, we might be a little bit dehydrated from the night. So listen to your body. So nice little warm up into our sun salutations. We get a little bit more flowy, and then we deepen into the hips. So pretty active for the rest of the class, but nice and gentle. Starting at the front of the mat, feet about hip width distance apart, really grounding all the corners of the feet into the mat. So if it means lifting the toes and then placing one by one back onto the mat, drawing the weight forward onto the toes, drawing the weight back onto the heels. So just feeling that groundedness. We're going to bring the hands to heart center, pressing the palms together. Rolling those shoulder blades back together, down the spine. Engage the core, the quads. A little bit relaxed into the knees here, but just feeling that lovely power in the standing pose. We're going to inhale, arms out, reaching up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, gaze forward, flat back. Exhale, fold. Stepping right foot back to lunge, left foot to meet it. Hold it here in plank. Check in with those planks so those hips aren't dropped, bum's not up in the air. So it's that nice little straight space in between. Pressing the ground away, keeping those arms strong and pressing back through the heels. Checking in, shoulders are in line with wrists. If you need to come down onto the knees, just keep the spine nice and long. For 3, for 2, and 1. Exhale, knees to the mat, chest to the mat and chin, keeping the elbows tucked in, rolling the chest forward, untucking the toes and pressing those feet into the mat, really pressing the heart forward. Exhale, tucking the toes, downward dog, walking it out. So again, particularly in the morning, exploring that downward dog, trying to get that movement into the legs, in through the spine, relax the head. We're going to inhale that right leg up, looking forward, stepping right foot into lunge, and as many steps as you need, left foot to meet it. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rolling up through center, hands extended up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, fold. Stepping left foot back to lunge, right foot to meet it. Again, holding it here, lovely strong planks for 3, for 2, And 1. Exhale, knees to the mat, chest to the mat and chin, rolling forward, pressing the heart forward, pressing those feet into the ground, drawing those shoulder blades back. Tucking the toes, downward dog, walking it out. Again, reconnecting with that breath if you've lost it. Making any little movements that feel good within the body. Reconnecting, resetting. We're going to inhale that left leg up, looking forward between the hands, stepping left foot into lunge, right foot to meet it. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rolling up through center, hands extended up. Exhale, hands to heart. Second round, when you're ready. Nice and grounded at the front of the mat. Drawing those shoulder blades back together, really lengthening through both sides of the neck here. We're going to inhale, arms out, reaching up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, gaze forward, hands to shins. Exhale, fold. Stepping right foot back to lunge. Left foot to meet it. Hold it here. Engage your plank. Active core, glutes are engaged. Pressing back through those heels for 3, for 2, and 1. Exhale, knees to the mat, chest to the mat, and chin, rolling the heart forward, untucking the toes, pressing those feet into the mat. Really drawing that heart forward. Tucking the toes, downward dog. Again, choosing to walk it out, or you can bring stillness to your downward dog. If we're in stillness, we're focusing on pressing the ground away with the hands and drawing those heels toward the ground, lifting through the hips and feeling that space in the lower back. We're going to inhale that right leg up, looking forward, stepping right foot into lunge, left foot to meet it. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rolling up through center, hands extended up. Exhale, swan dive, fold. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, fold. Stepping left foot back to lunge, right foot to meet it. Inhale it here. Exhale, knees, chest, chin to the mat. Rolling forward on tucking the toes, pressing the heart open. Exhale, tucking the toes, downward dog. Feeling that warmth generated within the body. It's amazing what we can do and all we are on the 4 corners of the mat. Inhale that left leg up, looking forward, stepping left foot into lunge, right foot to meet it. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rolling up through center, hands extended up. Exhale, hands to heart. Third and final round, again, please feel free to use that same sequence as we did, or we will add in a chaturanga and upward dog if you've been practicing and you want to follow with me. Again, starting at the front, hands to heart, drawing the shoulders back, engaging the core, all corners of the feet into the mat. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, fold. Either stepping back to plank or lightly jumping both feet to our plank. Control the movement. Hold it here for 3, for 2, and 1. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Or if we're doing chaturanga, drawing the chest slightly forward, keeping those elbow creases facing forward. Elbows tucked into the body as we gently lower toward the mat, hovering about 2 inches, untucking the toes, pressing the heart forward. If we're in upward dog, it's only the feet and hands, and we're drawing those shoulders back. So we're not dumping into the shoulders, drawing those shoulders away from the ears. Nice strength, pressing the chest forward so we're not dumping into that lower back. Tucking the toes, downward dog, well done. So again, really important in our upward dog, same with our baby cobra, that we're drawing the chest forward and we're not dumping into our shoulders. So we want to protect those lovely shoulder joints. We're going to inhale that right leg up, looking forward, stepping right foot into lunge, left foot to meet it, exhale, fold. Inhale, rolling up through center, hands extended up. Exhale, swan dive, fold. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, fold. Stepping left foot or lightly jumping back to plank. Again, control the movement, nice and light. Holding in our plank for 3, for 2, and 1. Exhale, knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga to the ground. Either way, keeping the elbows tucked in, rolling forward, untucking the toes, pressing the heart forward, pressing the feet into the mat, really drawing the chest forward so we're releasing that lower back. Tucking the toes, downward dog, walking it out. Inhale, left leg up. Looking forward, stepping left foot into lunge. Right foot to meet it. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rolling up through center, hands extended up. Exhale, hands to heart. Lovely. Take a drink if you need it. We've got one last little flow sequence and then we get into class a little bit deeper into those hips. So we should feel quite warmed up within the hips, so a little bit safer to go into those deeper movements. When you're ready, again, we'll meet at the front, feet about a hip width distance apart. Nice long spine, draw those shoulders away from the ears, hands to heart, pressing the hands together. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, gaze forward, nice flat back. Exhale, fold. Stepping right foot back to lunge, keeping right hand grounded. We're going to inhale that left arm up toward the ceiling, really reaching toward the ceiling, pressing back into that right heel, drawing that left shoulder back, so full openness in the chest. For 3, for 2, and 1. Left hand comes back to meet the right. We're going to drop that right heel down so the back foot's parallel to the back of the mat. Slowly engage in the core. We're going to come up into our warrior 2 pose. That left knee is bent, right leg is straight. We're going to look over that left knee. We should be able to see the middle toe. So that left knee isn't dropping inward. Working into a nice hip opener here. We're going to press both feet firmly into the ground and draw those inner thighs together. You can get as deep as you need to into that front knee if it feels good in the hips and into the legs. Again, check in if the bum's sticking out. I want you to actively place your hands in the hips, tilt the pelvis forward and feel that core engagement. Draw the arms out in line with the shoulders. Again, gaze goes over that middle index finger and relax the shoulders. So we're not hunched up here, nice relaxed upper body. From here, we're going to place that right hand on the back leg. And then we're going to inhale that left arm up toward the ceiling and then draw that left arm back overhead. Lovely reverse warrior here. Still keeping that bend into the front leg. Feeling that on the inner right groin. Nice little bit of space into the front of the body for 3, for 2, and 1. Inhale back to warrior 2. Exhale, reverse. Little flow here. Inhale, warrior 2, center. Exhale, reverse. Inhale it, center. Exhale, reverse. 3 more, center. Exhale. 2 more, center. Exhale, reverse. Last one, center. Exhale, reverse. Coming back into our warrior 2. From here, we're going to cartwheel both hands down, either side of that left foot, coming on to the ball of that back foot, and just holding it here. So we're onto the fingertips, left knee is bent, right leg is extended, and we're pressing back into that right heel, drawing the chest forward. So a nice low lunge here, but off the knee. If it doesn't feel good, you can always drop down onto the knee. But just trying to get that full expanse into the front of that right hip. Holding it here for 3, for 2, and 1. Hands flattened to the mat. We're going to step that left foot back to meet the right. Hold it here in plank for 3, for 2, and 1. Exhale, knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga to the ground. Baby cobra or upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Walking it out, taking any little movements that feel good in the body. From here, we're going to inhale that right leg up. We're going to look toward the back of that right wrist. We're going to bend that right knee and we're going to rest it in behind the back of that right wrist. So coming forward, setting up for our pigeon pose. We're going to rest that left knee down onto the ground, untucking the left foot. And we've got that right shin. I'm seeing a few confused faces there in the camera. We've got that right shin at a nice 45-degree angle. Okay, so we don't need it to be too shallow to the front of the mat. We can keep those right toes working toward the knee, and we're staying nice and high in the fingertips. So that left leg is extended fully back. We're walking those toes back. Chest is moving forward. Hips are moving evenly forward, so we're not falling over to the right side. So that right butt cheek will be floating off the ground. And again, we can hold it here and just work into those hips. Notice here if you're dumping into the lower back. So again, press the chest forward a little bit more so you can release that lower back. And again, if that feels good and that's where you want to stay, stay here. If you want to work a little bit deeper into the hips, we can walk the hands forward, coming down onto the forearms or coming all the way down onto the ground. Head is connected either to the ground or to a block or a book. So taking the weight out of that head and coming into our full half pigeon. Again, relax the breath, relax the belly, relax the chest. If you want to take it out of the front of the body altogether, you can always make a little pillow with the arms and rest the head onto the arms and just focus that energy on that lovely hip release. So we should feel this into the right hip, right glute. All the time we're working that left foot away, so we should feel a little bit into the front of that left hip. So close down the eyes here, so just working with your own breath and body weight, getting a little bit deeper into the fascia within the hips. So again, I would never go straight into my pigeon at the start of a class. Something that's nice when the body's warmed up and we can just get that extra bit of space. So again, we tend to hold a lot of tension, both physically and mentally and emotionally within the hips. So these releases can get a little bit emotional if we've been holding back a lot. So just allow the body, the breath. The nice thing about doing the hip releases outside of the kind of the full class is that you can get emotional. Nobody's going to see you. Nobody's going to feel it. It's just you and the mat and your breath. Again, uncomfortable is normal, but there shouldn't be pain, there shouldn't be numbness or tingling. And if there is, you're just backing out of the pose nice and gently. And then you can attempt to come back in slowly. And again, no pain. Just some nice general openness and release. Last few breaths here, so really fully release. Those hips should feel a little bit more relaxed. Chest and belly, a little bit more relaxed. Head and neck, a little bit more weight. And then wherever you're at, we're going to tuck the chin in. We're going to come back up onto the fingertips if you're not there already. We're going to place that right hand to the center of the mat. And again, you can stay here just going for an extra little chest opener. If you want to get into a quad stretch, we're going to bend that left knee. So I'll just show you here. So we're going to bend that left knee, draw the heel toward the body, and if we can, we're going to reach back for that left foot. So you mightn't have that space. Sometimes wrapping a towel around the shin and just pulling the foot gently towards you. So again, you can just experiment just a little counter pose, but just getting a wee bonus quad stretch into it. And we can draw the chest forward if we do have that connection with the hand on the foot. We can always bring the heel of the hand over the toes, working the elbow up toward the ceiling. So again, just extensions of that same pose, but just a little release here. And then slowly releasing that left foot down. Bringing both hands to the front of the mat, tucking that left toe under and gently releasing that right foot back to meet the left. And really gently walking it out in our downward dog. So feeling that space within the right hip, just walking it out, rocking the hips side to side, taking any movements that feel good within the body. And then come into stillness here in our downward dog. We're going to inhale that right leg up gently, looking forward between the hands, stepping right foot into lunge, left foot to meet it. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rolling up through center, hands extended up. Exhale, swan dive, fold. Inhale, gaze forward, nice flat back. Exhale, fold. Stepping left foot back to lunge this time. Left hand stays grounded. We're going to inhale that right arm up toward the ceiling, extending, reaching through those fingers, pressing back through that left heel. Really drawing the chest open for 3, for 2, and 1. Right hand comes back to meet the left. We're going to draw that left heel down, bringing the left foot parallel to the back of the mat, engaging the core and drawing ourselves up into our warrior 2 on the other side. So again, just checking in, right heel bisecting the arch of that back foot, right knee is tracking directly forward. Just going to turn it around here so you can see me. Nice deep bend, 90-degree angle, opening the hips, drawing those inner thighs together, opening the arms nice and wide in line with the shoulders, really pressing into the outer blade of that back foot. Again, pelvis is tilted forward, core is engaged, so the bones aren't sticking out. We're going to inhale here, and as we exhale, we're going to rest that left hand on the back leg, extending that right arm up toward the ceiling and then drawing the arm back overhead. Full extension along the right hand side of the body, keeping that right knee bent, keeping that right leg strong. For 3, for 2, and 1. Inhale, back to warrior 2. Exhale, reverse, little flow. Inhale, warrior 2. Exhale, reverse. Inhale, warrior. Exhale, reverse. 3 more. Last 2. Last 1. Back to warrior 2. Again, we're going to look forward to that right foot. We're going to cartwheel both hands down either side of the right foot, coming onto the ball of the left foot. So we're high in the fingertips here. We're pressing back into that left heel. Again, if it doesn't feel good, you can always rest that left knee down. Drawing the chest forward, drawing the hips forward evenly. Holding it here for 3, for 2, and 1. Both hands come flat onto the ground. We're going to gently step that right foot back to meet left, coming into our plank. Holding it here for 3, for 2, and 1. Exhale, knees, just chin or chaturanga to the ground. Rolling the heart forward, baby cobra or upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Again, walking it out. We're nearly there. Inhale that left leg up, looking forward. We're going to draw that left knee to rest just behind the heel of that left hand, coming into our baby cobra, our half pigeon on the other side. So again, checking in your alignments. That back foot is untucked. We're working that right foot as far back as we can. Both hips are facing evenly forward, chest is open forward. So we're not falling to one side or the other. And again, that left shin is at about 45 degrees. It can be shallower if it feels good, but 45 is more than enough to get into that hip space. We can draw those left toes toward the knee. Again, keeping the chest open, working the hips and chest forward. And again, staying here if you want to focus on that lovely space into the chest, or if you just want to bring it into the hips, walking the hands forward, little bit by little bit. Maybe coming down onto the forearms, maybe extending the arms out fully in front. Resting the head down, again, onto the mat, onto a block, or making a little pillow with your hands. So whatever feels good. And just feel the hips melt toward the ground. Feel the heart, the belly, the head. Really allow the weight of the body get you a little bit deeper into those hips. So again, check in with your own body here, just fully releasing with the breath. The weight of the pose bringing you a little bit deeper each breath. And again, just notice how it feels from one side to the other. Just gently closing down the eyes here, so that you're really focusing in on those hips. And just notice how it feels from one side to the other. Notice if there are any little imbalances. So again, it's not something that you're going to fix in one yoga session or maybe even a few. It might even be something you need to get realigned. But just even noticing those imbalances. So quite often we're running around like headless chickens and we start to develop these little niggles and we don't really understand where they're coming from. But sometimes it is, and quite often it is, a little imbalance in the hips. So it can be bone, quite often it's muscle. Again, if we can work into releasing those hips, but keeping them strong at the same time, keeping them stable, we can hopefully help eliminate some of those little niggles. And it just makes everything a little bit easier when we're not holding all that tension within the body. Even our personality starts to relax a little bit and release. Last few breaths here, doing really good. Really just releasing with that breath, enjoying that space. And then wherever we're at, we're going to gently walk back up onto the fingertips. Again, back onto both fingertips. We can stay here in our pigeon, or we can bring that left hand toward the center of the mat, bending that right knee, and then drawing that right hand back to reach for the right foot and draw that right shoulder forward. So again, just a little bonus stretch into that quad. You do not have to take it. Just release into your pigeon. For 3, for 2, and 1. Slowly releasing that right foot down. Both hands come to the front of the mat. We're going to tuck that right toe under and then gently walk it back into our downward dog. Really gently rocking the hips side to side, feeling the space in both hips now. Feeling that release in the lower back and glutes. And then slowly releasing both knees down toward the mat. Coming back into a little child's pose. Hands are back by the feet. Head is relaxed onto the mat. Shoulders melt down toward the mat. Really pressing those sit bones back to the heels. Releasing that lower back. And just checking in with where the breath's at, where the head's at, where the body's at. Maybe rocking the hips a little bit side to side, taking any little movements that the body feels it needs right now. And just calming the breath, calming the mind. Enjoying that release. Hopefully a little less tension going into the day. And when you're ready, we're going to bring those hands out in front, tucking the chin toward the body. Walk the hands back toward the knees, sitting back up onto the heels. And just come into any comfortable seated position. So if this is comfortable for you, stay and sitting back onto the heels. You can come to easy cross-legged, so whatever feels good. And then we can either place the hands palm down on the knees if we feel like we need a little bit of groundiness today, or we can open the palms fully toward the ceiling if we feel like we need a little bit more energy today. So wherever we're at, we're going to roll those shoulder blades back together, sitting nice and long into the spine, tucking the chin, closing down the eyes. We're just taking a few calm, settled breaths here, really filling that good energy into the body on the inhale. And as you exhale, feeling the shoulders, feeling the hips melt out and release. So just sigh any of those last little niggles